It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate on that. You may like it, may not like it. Declaration of Independence, we find these truths to be self-evident, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, of which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It goes on in the Constitution to say we are putting together this Constitution in a preamble to secure the blessings, not only for ourselves, for posterity. And that Constitution followed with a Bill of Rights that enumerated those godly rights given to man, including the very first one, which was a right to believe in God and to express that belief anytime, anywhere, including the public square.
33 million. It's proven to the money investors that people want something to feed their souls, not just their worst desires.
Absolutely.
And
yes, indeed.
This kind of sums up my entire dialogue career on the heat of the night. You ready for this? Okay, this is it. My 7 years on the heat of the night. My dialogue all summarized in this. Get right on it, Chief.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody crabbing out there. Nobody.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Free at last. Free at last.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
And welcome to Alan Autry, no retreat, getting it on and bringing it on for 12 to 1 p.m. I'm going to be an AM DJ for the next hour, changing the format here. Folks, thank you for tuning in. It is Big Wednesday, and I get a little hyped up in a good way, not just because of the Starbucks sitting next to me. I've never had something I hated so much and needed so much at the same time. It is a in my cognitive dissonance in my head, it's driving me freaking crazy, actually. I want some chain to emerge that can rival them. I don't know. Maybe they put heroin in that or crack in that. I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing something. But welcome, Sir Lawrence of Powell.
Hey,
Cup of joy.
Plug it.
Good. Cup of joy.
Cup of joy rivals.
Well, it's Starbucks is right by the gym. My little routine in the morning, I do my workout. It's right there. Convenience. No excuse. It's just the reason.
Always retreat to the familiar.
Yes. Yes. Oh. Even if the familiar is bad.
That's no doubt about it.
People stay in abusive relationships because it's familiar. No, they do. I stay at this radio station. It's abusive, but it's familiar. Guillermo just verbally abuses me every day. I could sue him every day, but I don't because I like it for some reason.
Sue me and then make the city pay for it.
That's an idea.
That's a good idea.
Yes, we'll win. They'd settle out of court.
Yeah, probably.
Rich man, we'd have all the bells and whistles we need at this station. Just one little
Someone
lawsuit.
could get our own copy.
Jerry Dyer said settle absolutely and pay them well. Minimum wage, what, $15 an hour, $20 an hour just to go get coffee.
We start
and
it
won't be Starbucks.
We start at $15.50 here.
Huh? Really?
Yeah.
Well, what?
Listen,
that's not what I'm being paid. I'm being paid the big goose egg. I got nothing.
Instead of Calwa joining Fresno, we're going to secede. So what is it? 1906 here, whatever the address is.
Yeah, we're going to secede.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll
I like
secede
that.
from
We're going to
Fresno.
secede from and be our own little county island.
Yes.
The KXCF, man, and not the
We
whole
should.
Manchester Center, just this area. Hey, you got the
Second
weapons
floor.
when they come to take us in, man. You can give a call out to the survivalists. Hey, we need your help, man. Get down here.
Listen,
Here comes the man.
I'm from Kawa, and so I was
Are
really
you from
shocked.
Kawa?
Absolutely.
Did
Folks
not know that.
folks that don't know this, Cal was a wonderful community. It's a county island in Fresno. Explain that. Like Big Garden is a county island right in the middle of Fresno.
Yeah.
It's doesn't make any sense. It's just what
And
it
you
is.
know what it stands for?
No.
California Way, a railroad stop.
Wow.
Huh.
Kawa, California Way.
Yeah.
Kawa.
And I think you would say it's more and more challenged there in terms of economically.
It is.
I try to figure that out like I try to figure Pinedale out
Listen,
here
I-
locally.
I
How do you
left-
figure Pinedale?
I
Right in
left
the middle
in
of
the-
River Park.
I left and the IQ of both places went up.
Yeah, I say that about Louisiana, where I was born. Yeah, coming out to California. But, folks, I'm looking right before the show came on, radio listeners, they have a graphic. You on social media saw it if you're tuned in now. Dadgum, they got that picture of me when I was doing the heat of the night. I'm getting my hands on the hips like Superman. Belly just flat. You could do a week's wash on my
You
abs.
look like a millennial then.
I'm right there, and it's right. Yeah, but and then you just turn your eyes over to the live shot of me.
Yep.
And I've got like this belly protruding out, and I think look down, it does add 10 pounds.
It
It does have
TV.
headphones, yeah.
The
Look at that.
Good news
But
is
look,
it's
it-
almost gone.
Well, then to you, it looks like it on that screen. Look at it on the screen. I would raise up, but I don't want to gross all the listeners out. Okay, we got some big stuff to talk about
Oh,
here
boy,
today.
do
The midterms had 3 big debates. I saw snippets of it, and now, of course, if you watch CNN, they're going to show you. Let's pick the first debate, Fetterman Oz, which
We ran
many
here.
of the pundits you ran here
Yeah.
on the station. Many of the pundits believe that so goes this particular Senate election. So goes the Senate majority. I don't necessarily buy all of that, but I can see how they can come to that conclusion with the very different variables that could happen. It's certainly that could happen. Did you get a chance to listen to any of it, guys?
I did not.
Okay.
I did. We were running on the station. I wanted to see what the latest polls were out regarding it. Here's my initial thought. I thought Dr. Oz underperformed, and I know I'm going to get a lot of heat about it. I thought Dr. Oz underperformed, and I thought Fetterman overperformed. And I was really afraid that this was going to happen. But at the end of the day, Pennsylvania voters are very special, and it was very clear that Fetterman is just not. He's just not ready. Do I think, and you guys might disagree with me, do I think he's ready for the job? I do. I think Fetterman is ready for the job. It's the United States Senate. I mean, it's not brain surgery, number one. Number two, you're a freshman in the United States Senate. You're going to get told what to do and how to vote. So let's just stop pretending that the guy's going to get a stack of papers, read them every day, and then have to make these hard decisions. I mean, he's no Manchin. So let's just all stop pretending that you actually have to have a lot of, and this is no pun intended, a lot of brain power to do the job of the United States Senate. But I thought he did a lot better than I thought. And I thought Dr. Oz was in a real tough position because here you have a very intelligent, eloquent doctor who, I mean, it's kind of a handicap. I mean,
You just said two things that don't translate to politics: intelligent and doctor.
Yeah.
Intelligence isn't what gets it. It's the ability to connect, and and he has that on television. But when you've got the pressure on,
yes,
it's a different deal. Now, remember one thing: he went from a 5-point deficit. He's now at a 2. So
2. It is 2. Yeah, it is 2.
So it's closing. And people are going to vote on what they preconceive, not what a debate does. A debate doesn't tell you anymore.
I heard that stat early on saying that debates really don't matter. But I think I think Pennsylvania people are very special. I have a couple friends in Pennsylvania, and before the debate, they were like, "Hey, this guy doesn't look like he's in good shape." It's that old style voter. You guys know what I mean? Pennsylvania, that is that old style voter. We're like, man, that guy just ain't right. That guy, something's wrong with that guy.
Yeah.
I'm going with the shady doctor.
Yeah. Well, I think that's some of them. Pennsylvania, again, I'm so disappointed in the way the majorities have gone in that state because I agree with you. Coal mine. It's a working woman's town, and how they could embrace these policies that come out of Fetterman.
just indiscriminately, arbitrarily released a third of the prisoners, saying that's a great idea to totally eliminate fracking overnight and get.
And they are a crime and punishment state.
Yes,
Yeah.
They do want their folks held accountable so that they're feeling safe out in the public.
Yeah, the CRT, the open up the borders, this whole radical left, and I think that's where the Republican machine, if you will, made a real tactical error in focusing on his stroke.
Yeah,
I really, because it's not going to matter how the physical condition that he's in, because of what you just said. It's going to be policy by committee, and his policy has already been determined. He doesn't have a free and open mind. He is who he is, a radical, far left individual who's...
Can you read the paper that's sent to you that tells you how to vote?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I think if it is a special state, I think, number one, handicap, I think you're right, Oz, you can't keep bringing that up and hammer it up like Hannity and Carlson and Laura Ingraham and just the stroke, how he's unfit.
Yeah.
I think the policies were enough there.
Yeah.
If they would have said, look, we wish him well, the stroke is something we're not going to talk about. We're not going to touch. It's touched too many families. We're going to run a reel of all of his mess ups and show how bad the stroke was. I think it was a tremendous tactical error on their part because he is going to get a certain amount of sympathy votes.
I felt bad for the guy. I honestly felt bad for the guy. I think Dr. Oz, and here's the other thing, the moderators were amazing. I mean, boom.
Yeah, they
boom,
pressed him
boom,
on. They pressed Fetterman on fracking.
They pressed
his flip flop.
They did. The moderators didn't care if the guy had a stroke, but I think the whole night I felt like Oz was just one couldn't get a word out, and the other one was stuck on go the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just that balance was just odd.
If they're special, like you say, they're special, meaning you have enough people there, the majority, looking at this debate, which I think it was probably viewed by a huge majority in Pennsylvania.
Oh, you know it.
Because people know that follow this even just a little bit. It was interesting for people. You got pretty much a celebrity candidate in him and Oz and all of the House and the Senate at stake and everything. I think what could be the deciding factor was a policy flip-flop that Fetterman made, that his stroke and his ability to communicate had nothing to do with the answer. It's very easy because he was asked twice about it. Because that was fracking.
Yeah.
And in 2018, he clearly said, I am against fracking. I do not support fracking anywhere. Then, in his latest release and his latest statement, he says, I support fracking. Well, those moderators, like you said, went after him, said, how do you reconcile? And he said, I'm for fracking. He never said, look, that's what I thought then. Based on new information, I've changed my mind. That would have been great. He just completely ignored it and just did not address that that flip-flop. And that right there goes to a man's integrity.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you had a stroke. I'm sorry you're struggling, but you know enough. That should not affect your integrity, your honesty.
Well said.
Yep.
That's something that the stroke doesn't affect.
That's well said.
Let me tell you something else that happens with a lot of voters. While they want to sympathize with something that happens to someone, a stroke or whatever it is, I can tell you it doesn't. I don't believe it affects them in the voter box when they're filling out that ballot. Let me give you a good example. Had polio in 1949. I know that there are folks who liked me, didn't like me, voted for me, voted against me, depending on what I said, not on the handicap. And so that there was no sympathy vote for the handicap. It doesn't happen unless there's just an egregious move by Oz to really highlight it in a really negative way. Then you've got a possible issue because we have a fairness quotient that we live with. But most of the time, I'm telling you right now, handicap doesn't get you over the top or under the bottom. It does. Most folks look at can you do the job? Do you have the positions that I want? That kind of thing. And that's how they vote.
And I agree with you that Oz
underperformed in the sense that he didn't get those moments where you remember, okay, this statement. This is the Reagan.
Jack Kennedy.
Right. Reagan.
I knew Jack Kennedy.
Right. And Reagan said, I paid for this microphone.
Yeah.
And, those moments that you win and people can't forget. But I think he made a great strategical decision, and that was not to talk about the stroke.
Yeah.
He didn't mention it, from what I understand.
He did not, no.
Not once. Now, that's going to, when that's consciously in your mind and you're trying to articulate other things, I think, all in all, he came across as a very level-headed man, a good man, talking about Oz, and someone that the Pennsylvanians could be proud to have represent.
I think
them.
so. Got to remember that.
And I understand what you're saying, too.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Guillermo, on this, but I think he won the debate on policy and being able to explain that policy.
Yeah, agreed.
With the abortion thing, which is his invulnerability with the women in Pennsylvania, some of the women in Pennsylvania.
I thought
he said, I don't want he went the only place he could. I don't want the federal government in there. What was his thing about Roe versus Wade? Fetterman had a good comeback to that. And if abortion is your decision maker, then Oz probably lost some last night.
But it wouldn't matter where you were in a debate.
Right.
It's what you were before.
But if it's not at the top of your list, if it's inflation, if it's crime, if it's the open border, then you have to go with Oz. How in the world could you vote after this debate?
But remember, the Democrats were trying to defend Fetterman's performance.
Yeah, way before it, ahead of the time.
And
so the abortion thing is interesting because I think they both fell flat on the abortion issue. Oz were repeatedly saying, and they asked him 3 times, repeatedly saying, you know what, federal government, stay out of it. It's up to the states. It was almost like, hey, I don't know what to do, but if I'm there, I'm a federal officer. I'm not going to touch it. Fetterman, they said, hey, up to what point can you have an abortion? And he just, Roe v. Wade standard. Roe v. Wade standard. Roe v. Wade. I mean, they both fell flat. But here's the other thing. Dr. Oz gets elected, which I think he will. I think he's going to be like a Manchin. Dr. Oz is not some, strong Ted
I have that
Cruz.
inkling, too. I have that feeling about him as well. I was thinking about that driving in today. This is scary. You and I on the same wavelength.
Oh, yeah. It could be trouble.
No, I have that same feeling about it.
But I think that's
that's not necessarily bad. I'm going to say, Larry, I don't think that's necessarily bad.
No,
I think it is bad. I think we already got one Manchin. We don't need too many people in the middle
let me
anymore.
ask you something.
Listen,
in
Black
the
Lives
Senate.
Matters has 3 mansions.
Did you?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, let me tell you about this. Here's how this. Here's where you go by the heart with Joe Manchin. Did you like Joe Manchin when he stopped the Build Back Better bill?
Loved it.
Now, when he supported the infrastructure, okay, it's like the jockey on the horse. He's the greatest jockey in the world when he wins, and you bet on that horse. Yeah, I remember Lafitte. I was watching. I'll never forget this. I was at the racetrack. Yeah, and this guy's talking Lafitte Pinkai, the best jockey ever to live. He's getting up the race. He's going to bring him in. A race goes off, comes out, and Lafitte Pinkai has like a 3-link thing. Yeah, way to go, Lafitte. Bring him home. You're the best. Lafitte turns the far corner, comes in home straight. Yeah, Lafitte, you're the best. Bring him home. The other horse on the outside goes, come on, Lafitte. Come on, you're the best. You can do it. Cross the finish line. Lafitte finishes second. Lafitte, you piece of crap. You couldn't ride a mule. I swear, right before my eyes, man. He went from the penthouse to the outhouse in the guy's eyes, man.
Where I stand on a subject depends on where I sit.
But I agree. I was disappointed with the second decision. But my point is, isn't it something you wish you had more Democrats like him there? He's not, at least he's willing under some circumstances to buck this crazy far left woke nonsense at least sometime. I'm like Reagan. I'll take one that would just sometimes. You got these programmed far left woke robots programmed with artificial intelligence by the woke left and the media. Tell them you're going to vote this way, this way, this way. And they're literally programmed partisan robots.
Mm-hmm. And that starts at a young age, Alan. And I was sure yesterday I talked about it on my show. When I was young, I was in Kerman Floyd. When you were superintendent, I was in Kerman Floyd. I don't ever remember talking about politics in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade. It was reading, writing, math. Never. But now our kids are programmed right now. You talk to a 2nd grader, a 3rd grader, they hate Donald Trump, and they know who the president is, and they even know some of these social issues, which is I think it's too early. It's too early to know about politics, and this goes to the programming. They're programmed at a young age now. This is the position you're going to be on, and you're not going to sway. It doesn't matter.
Right.
We're like attorneys.
They program the software. The kid is the hardware, the frame of the computer, and they put this software in their heads, this far left woke stuff. Okay, let's move from there. In fact, I'm not even going to take a break just yet. Georgia. Did you see the turnout in Georgia?
Yes.
7 million.
A lot more than last time.
More. Yeah. Much more than 2018 and more than 2020. And after the instituting of this horrible voter oppression law
so bad,
that's going to suppress voter turnout so badly that Atlanta, Georgia, you racist, you are not worthy of the Major League Baseball All-Star game. The Voter Suppression Act that you've instituted is so racist that we're taking out there. And, well, excuse me, Mr. Baseball, you know that's going to hurt about 90% of the vendors are African-American. You're going to hurt the people that you say you're trying to help. What? Yeah. You're a Republican, far left, mega MAGA. And they took yet now you don't even hear a semblance of a mea culpa. Not a semblance from Stacey Abrams or any of these folks not even going, well, I've got to challenge the massive turnout because I know with the voter suppression laws, these numbers are not real. I demand an investigation from the Georgia State Legislature.
Too many voters.
There's too many voters out there. Don't you find that just not unusual, hypocritical? With the far left, they make these outlandish predictions, these outlandish statements that are horribly wrong, and they never go, you know what? We got it a little wrong.
Yeah.
You know, they never do that.
You got to remember that most comments about elections or important issues are a point in time and don't carry before or after that point. Okay, I make that point, but see, I made that last week. I'm on a different point now.
And even if that point was horribly wrong,
it doesn't matter. Yeah, because let me tell you, 90% of the people don't remember.
Yeah,
you know, they move on.
But when you have African Americans, black folk in huge numbers saying it's voter suppression if you have a black person get an ID.
Yeah.
What a racist statement about your own race.
Yep.
And I've talked to a lot of black folk. We did Heat of the Night in Georgia. I was there for 7 years. Have a lot of black friends in it. And right from the get-go, they're shaking their head going, this is the subtle racism that we're talking about. Why we're seeing an exodus, not mass exodus, but something to qualify in its context, an exodus of blacks leaving the Democratic Party, not becoming independent, becoming freaking Republicans.
Yep.
Because they're doing a little homework. That's why the far left wants to get rid of history. They don't want young black people to understand that the Republican Party was founded to combat racism and slavery.
Yeah.
That Abraham Lincoln, that it was Republicans that got the groundbreaking Voting Rights Acts done in 1965 with Lyndon Johnson. The Southern Democrats and some Northern Democrats were against it. It was the Republicans that came up and passed those laws to end voter suppression. But I don't
like that part of history.
Yes. Well, it contradicts their narrative.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're a white Christian and a Republican or a conservative, even if you're an independent like me, and you just have some conservative leanings, you are racist.
Yep.
And if you don't see color like Martin Luther King said, a colorblind society, you're racist. Mm-hmm. Reconcile that with common sense. And then I've got an answer to that. Okay, I'm going to talk to woke left, who some listen to this show because they like to get triggered. They didn't like me to begin with when I was mayor, so they missed me. They come on there and trigger. Okay, you want me to see color? Because I say when I have black friends, I don't, when I'm sitting with them, say, I'm talking to a black guy, black woman. That's okay, we're talking about the price of eggs, and I'm saying black woman, price of eggs, black man. That's what they want you to say. That's what they want you to have in your mind. You've got to constantly be aware that you're in the presence of a black person.
Yeah.
And they have to be constantly aware that they're in the presence of a white oppressor. No matter how nice, no matter what that white person has done for you, been there for your family, been there through thick and thin, would take a bullet for you, they still oppress you.
Yep.
Okay? All right. You want me to see it? All right. I'll see color. I just ain't going to pay any attention to it. I'm just not going to pay attention. Yeah. I'll see it. You win. I'll see color, but I'm not going to pay any attention to it. That's a compromise.
Yeah.
Does that make you feel better? I'll come in, I'll see it, but I am not going to sit there and use color as a determining factor on what I talk about with that individual, what subjects I go into, whether I go into business with an individual, whether I help an individual, whether I ask help from an individual. Mm-hmm. They have to be the right color. Oh, look, you want me to do that? But paying attention to it.
Well, what I think often gets lost in translation is the effect it does have on the younger generation. You know, while the adults are arguing about racism and racist, the younger generation, you know, kids are being told, well, you're black, so you're not going to succeed because the system is out to get you. And I always use this football analogy. It's as if you have a squad, a young team, and you're telling them, hey, listen, go out on that field, but man, it's stacked against you. You're probably going to lose. This team's always going to be better than you. Go out on the field. How do you think the kid's going to feel? How do you think the players are going to feel? And I'm seeing that a lot more with our young folks these days, where the young black kids that I've spoken to, they feel like they have a mountain to achieve or a mountain to overcome,
right?
And it's like, well,
fits right into their agenda when you think about this stuff, folks. And don't let it obsess you, but think about it. I mean, this is our country. For an old dude like me, you're going to leave it to your kids and grandkids. It shouldn't matter. And there's a way to be extremely interested and not let it own you. You have to work at it, but you can. You can put it away and go watch your kid play ball or watch a good TV show or just have a good time on vacation. There's some folks, it consumes them. I get you. But you can do that. Okay, you can have this burning desire to make sure you do the best you can and do your little bit to help this country, this great country, continue to become a more perfect union. We're not perfect yet. We never will reach perfection. But that was the goal, for a more perfect union. But you see the connections of these things, why I adamantly have to fight against this woke left movement. And by the way, I'm tired of having people say I'm disparaging them. They gave themselves that name. Okay? They call themselves the woke movement. Till you give me another term to have the discussion, I'm going to stay with the woke. If you change it to puke or weak or mock or smack or whatever movement, I will use that. I will use that. But the woke movement, when you see them with their absolute conviction to not improving the union, not improving the Constitution, not making the necessary adjustments, burn it down. Completely destroy the institution of education because it's irredeemably racist. Get rid of the police, law enforcement, because they're irredeemably racist. Get rid of the corporate structure because it's irreparably racist. So if you have that as your goal, then, and you say that every institution is racist, then tearing it down, hating your country, is what you do. You don't find any redeeming factors in it from the woke left. So tearing it down, that's why they can't give anybody any quarter. They can't cut slack to anybody. They can't point out some of the great things that America has done for the world, like giving more food to disadvantaged and third world countries than all the countries combined.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go on and on and on. So that's why it's so dangerous. You have a movement, well-funded, mention a name, a guy like George Soros, that believes America should be completely destroyed, all of its institutions with it, and you start all over, and what you want to create is a Marxist state. It's there. They don't run from it now. They're becoming more brazen. And you got to fight back against it.
I have lots of friends who are not economically advantaged. Having been a superintendent, you get to meet a lot of different people. One of the things I found to be amazing about them is their sense of America gave them a chance, and they still have that opportunity. And their kids can be better because of education, because of of equal opportunity and things. They don't have this woke left mentality that the advantaged have written. You got to understand that this woke left came out of the intelligentsia, the elite. It didn't come out of those on the lower end economically.
Those who had already gotten the American dream, had achieved it.
They got their dream. Now they're trying to put on folks who don't, quote unquote, haven't reached that dream yet or are striving to reach it, all of these attributes that are not true. And it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. When you talk to folks that I know, they're going, we don't buy this stuff. They talk about it all the time. We don't buy it. And I love when you find someone who clearly understands 50 years of Democratic help has been no help. The laws have not helped them. They've not changed anything. It's sad.
Well, I think the question is going to be, I think there is going to be a red wave. I don't think it's going to be like a tsunami wave, but there is going to be a red wave. What is the left going to do? Are they going to pivot? Because they'll have another opportunity. Because I think the Americans...
They're going to say the election was stolen.
That or, exactly, or, remember Van Jones?
Hillary Clinton's already laying the groundwork for that.
Yeah, and then Van Jones, I remember when Donald Trump was elected, said it was a white lash. This is a racist country. Yeah. All the racists decided to show up to the polls. So the American people are forgiving. And I think for the progressive left and the left, this would be a good time to say, you know what? Maybe we took it too far. We're gonna scale it back. Remember, Obama took a shellacking, his first midterm, and he admitted it. He admitted it, and he started, changing whatever he could. Not eventually, not very much, but
he didn't change.
But
Clinton changed.
Yeah, Clinton changed
after that.
For sure.
The contract with America. Yeah. Obama didn't change a bit.
But I think at the end of it, Alan and Larry, and this should be my not my motto, but I think this is where the country is at. It used to be God, family, country. Now it's political party, friends, family, God.
Yeah.
Political party is religion now. It really is. It's like a gang.
Yeah.
No doubt. And it's party over country and party over the future for your kids and grandkids. And you hit a really good point. You see all these people that have the platforms to call America the racist country. You got to tear up the whole system. Are ones that benefited from the free market system.
From the system they're wanting to tear up.
And the access to the equal access to opportunity, education, and quality of life.
Yeah.
Yet they want to deny these young people that same opportunity for the American dream. Forget owning your own home. This is what they're saying. Forget owning. Everybody moved to the cities, and you can no longer own the American dream of a home. You can rent it. You can rent the American dream or lease it. But we're going to control. Don't worry. We'll have rent control laws. They're bit by bit stealing from the people the American dream to not only work for the man, but to become the man or the woman, to own the business, to work your way up, all of that. And that's why I think on the ballot, subliminally, ideologically, and vision-wise, and Thomas Sowell explains it very well. He says, when you have an interest in something, you know exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. Farmers get at the table, they need more water.
Right.
So they know that that's the interest. They want more water. So you have a conflict of interest. People know. But with visions, that's different. It's how you see the worldview that you yourself may not know that that's how you operate, and that's what you're motivated by. It's your worldview that's sometimes difficult to articulate, and it's deeper. It's tough to examine and discuss, break down. And he goes on, this book, Conflict of Visions, I would really recommend it. It's a brilliant, brilliant piece of work. But I believe one of the things on this ballot, vision-wise, for this country and the people, are things like this. Is free money given by the government better for our soul as an individual and our collective soul as a nation than money earned by hard work and perseverance, and from the private sector? That's on the, especially after COVID, all these free. The young people are really listening to that because they're playing. Well, I like the free stuff, but they're not knowledgeable enough to know what that did to inflation. Is the country better off having a focus on being kinder and gentler to criminal activity than protecting the law-abiding citizens? These are fundamental differences. America used to be, hey, you expected to do something before you got a handout of any kind from the government or, I remember these hobos coming to our house asking, Mama give them a bologna sandwich. You'd ask, what can we do? Can we wash some windows? Can we hoe some weeds? And then they would do it. That's gone. Now it's the free money, the quiet quitters at work.
Let me share a story with you.
No.
My cousin, three cousins, mother divorced, gray lady, my aunt, one of the kids came home one day, and I use this in Good News this week. Somebody will get a chance to listen to it. It's called Poor for a Day. Well, kid came home and said, "Hey, Mom, we're getting free lunch." And she goes, "Who told you that?" The principal said that we get a free lunch because we're poor. And she said, "Okay, thank you." She made arrangements to leave her job for the day, losing money, went to the principal and said, "We will be paying for our own lunches." Even though she couldn't afford it, it was going to be tough. She said, "We will not be taking a handout." All right. And then when she came back home, talked to the kids and said, "We do not do that." And my cousin, who was my age, shared with me how he was poor for a day and no more because his mom wouldn't allow it.
Wow.
Isn't that a good story?
You shared that on the Good News?
Yeah, that's on Good News this week. So Poor for a Day is what it's called.
Well, another thing on the ballot, that's why I call this election, is beginning the process. I think the next 6, 7, 8 years is going to determine the future of this country, the soul of this country, because I think that's on the ballot. Yep. And specifically, one of the other things is jobs. Is it good for the soul of a country and the soul of an individual to be given a job based on their gender or race, or to deserve that job or have a chance of that job based on hard work, perseverance, and competence?
Yep.
That's on the ballot. There's people that would say, no, that doesn't matter how hard that person worked and persevered and how much more competent they may be than this individual. They're the wrong color, the wrong gender, and we have no place for them. That's on the ballot.
Yep.
Because you know what? It just crept up on it, and it's here. Guillermo just said it. They're programming our kids to believe that America is evil, that the country didn't start with the Pilgrims, that started in 1619. We didn't have a country before then. That every one of these states, they're taking the mores and the morals of today and applying them to a generation hundreds of years ago.
Yep.
And so when slavery was the way of life around the world, that we were one of the first. Great Britain did it first. All credit to them. They got rid of slavery. But, you had them in Brazil, Cuba.
You still have them.
You have in Africa, in West Africa, black slave owners, traders with others. And they do not, meaning the woke left, do not want our young people exposed to that. That's why they're trying to get rid of certain history books. And that's to rewrite history, brainwash them. So our question is, with these young people, how do you towel off and dry a washed brain? How do you get in there and start fixing that?
You know what I have them do? I have them watch Saving Private Ryan. One of the best lines in that movie was when the lieutenant a captain was about to die.
Oh, I know what you're going to say. Oh,
and he
keep
says,
going, brother.
He says, earn it.
Earn this.
Earn this, and that's an American thought of earn it. And we're trying to flip it on its head. And here's what I dislike at a very high level is that the woke left has the idea that they know what's best for me.
In every aspect of your life.
I can't stand that.
From what job you should have, how much you should make, to how you raise your kids.
Yeah.
Every single aspect of your life.
How about parents knowing what's best for their kids?
Absolutely.
How about grandparents knowing?
Larry, Guillermo, that's on the ballot too.
That's the election. It is.
That's on these midterms election. In 2024, it's going to be those issues on steroids.
Yep.
And then, as Thomas Sowell said, and I know I quote him a lot, but gosh, what a wise man.
Yep.
He says, as awful of a thought that it is in America to even think about what I'm about to say, he said. Regardless of that, it is horrible to even think about. But there is a point of no return. There's a point of no return. Germany hit that with Hitler's policies. And I know those people on woke left, yeah, well, that's why I'm against Trump. Please, take Hitler's agenda and Trump's, and please find me anything. And I'm not a big Trumpster fan, but come on. But I tell you, when you allow the public school system, the programs of our kids, to say, parents, you're no longer wanted here. They don't even want parent PTA. Remember when that was something, the Harper Valley PTA, when a parent came there and, you know, and gave her a piece of their mind about where
she started telling everything.
Guillermo's looking at me going, I have no idea. We'll play it on the show here. And they said, oh, we welcome parental input.
Yep.
Remember that?
Yep.
Well, the problem is we don't have parents interested in coming in and being involved in what we're doing. If parents knew what we're doing, they would understand what a difficult job we have as teachers and principals. Well, you know, parents did during COVID. They didn't like what they saw.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They had that system has no interest. Now, there's great teachers that labor every day in the field just like we do.
Yep.
They're swimming upstream against this stuff. God bless you all. Stay in teaching. Don't get burnt out and go away. We have to have faith that we can identify what's happened, fix what's happened, and get in and start teaching critical thinking again. Because I know what some of y'all are thinking. Well, you want me to think like you and Guillermo and Larry. No. I just want you to look at something and not be told and brainwashed to think a certain way. It's called critical thinking, because if you do and are allowed to do that, I promise you, you're probably going to pick freedom over tyranny.
Here's
you're probably going to
hopefully
you're probably going to pick an individual right that when I say something, I'm not going to be thrown in jail or sent to Siberia.
Yeah.
You're probably going to pick those things.
Here's another great Thomas Sowell quote. It's amazing how much it's amazing how much panic one honest man can spread among a multitude of hypocrites.
That's why I love that guy.
Oh man.
Yeah. And Laura Fisher sent me this. You know, he was a great photographer and artist. I tell you, folks, I can't say he's all over YouTube. Thomas Sowell is not spelled S-O-U-L, but boy, he does have a lot of soul.
Yeah.
It's S-O-W-E-L-L. YouTube it. Listen to him, absorb him. He's one of the most gifted philosophers. He's an economist by trade.
Yep.
But he's one of the greatest philosophers of our time.
Here's another one I think is fantastic. When you want to help people, you tell them the truth.
Didn't that?
Yeah.
Well, I found that to be true in my life.
Man.
Yeah.
Guillermo?
That's deep.
Guillermo, can I tell you the truth?
Tell me the truth. Can I handle it?
You can't handle the truth. There's people on there that you want me on that wall.
You need me on
that wall. So unless you're going to offer something of constructive value, I suggest you just grab a gun, take a post. Is that ever a great? That's folks. That's part of Guillermo's great intro to his show.
It
Jack
is,
Nicholson. All right, we got to take one break. When we come back, I want to talk about I was talking to or texting Guillermo last night, these 30 liberals that sent in a letter to Biden saying, you know, you need to talk to Russia. You know, you're talking about dirty bombs, and you even told your group at a fundraiser that nuclear Armageddon could be right around the corner, and we get you probably time to talk. And I was Guillermo, you just can never predict politics. 30 liberals finally have the guts and the wisdom to do that. Then they did something else. We're going to talk about that when we come back. This is Alan Autry, No Retreat, with Guillermo Moreno and Larry Powell. It looks bigger than it is. Look at that on the monitor. You see that gut, folks? Well, of course you see it. Huh? Well, look at your trim. Look at that. I mean,
a 74-year-old in shape old man right here.
You're just humbling me. I could set a chocolate milkshake on that thing like that and just hold it there as a tray.
Alan's
right there.
Alan likes to say that, but he's in a lot better shape.
Well,
he works out all the time. more than anybody I know.
That's an optical illusion. Tell them, Larry. Preach it, Larry.
It's an optical conclusion.
I actually worked hard to look this way. And look at that. I need one of those bros.
That's a 6-pack. Now.
And I need a man's ear, too. Look at this. Wait, I'm going to see if I make a move. Wait.
Oh, there we go. Mike Tyson himself.
Oh, look at the views go up.
Give me a little music.
Mike Tyson.
I'm a soul man.
Our Facebook friends, we apologize.
Man.
I know I'm going to get some call from my faith family.
Don't drink a lot of soy.
Alan, I love you, but did you think that really glorified the Savior when you made your breast move?
Well, no, you're right, Mrs. Claire. I'm sorry.
Hey, Guillermo, we've got some election coverage coming up.
Yeah, we do.
Tell our folks about that.
November 8th, 4 to 8.
Thank you for that, Larry.
Maybe 9. 4 to 9. We'll say 4 to 9.
4 to 9.
Yeah, 4 to 9. We'll be right here.
Are we going to do a shift, Larry and I?
You guys get first dibs.
Okay.
Yep.
You guys are doing all 4 to 9.
Larry, plug the Larry Powell Show. Come on.
Yeah,
Still
good news with Larry Powell. You want a good news story, just check it out on KXEX at 10 and at 4. And we do have new ones on now. So
we do. Yeah, we're
news.
figuring out how to work our system.
You don't have to figure out the password again for 29 times in a row. And then Powell to the people, where civility is always in style. So we talk politics and we talk education, religion, you name it.
1 minute?
We'll talk about it. You want to see it, we stream it on your time too. So
Amen.
Love it.
Amen.
You guys got to tune into
that's
that.
one thing Guillermo does
you
really
want to feel
well.
good.
KXEX,
Yep.
stream everything.
Yeah, we do. We do.
You have diversity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know you hired an American Indian when you let me come in and do the show?
I did not know Elizabeth Warren was on staff.
And he's got an old man. So.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Well, no, Jim Franklin's Cherokee.
30 seconds.
I'm Cherokee Choctaw. I got him
And
trumped.
you got a card?
Huh? What?
He's got a card.
I don't need a card. I'm known as I'm.
He's from Oklahoma. That's why,
I can go any place with these looks. I look like the old Indian. I look like sitting bull crap.
10 seconds.
So I'm not to politics. Oh, I go up there at Table Mountain.
5
come right in,
seconds?
brother. Chancey, come right in, brother. Anything you want. Well, can I have $1,000 free chips? Well, you're not Indian enough for that.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now. 559-899-1550.
Well, something happened yesterday. I was actually singing the praises of 30 liberals. When's the last time you heard me do that? Even one liberal. Well, I praised Joe Manchin when he did the right thing.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'm bipartisan. Clear that up real quick. Don't take a pause during that word. Big trouble there. If you saw the news yesterday, 30 liberals led by Pramila Jayapal. I probably murdered that last name.
Jayapal.
Jayapal.
Yeah.
Jayapal. Anyway, she's the head of the Progressive Caucus in the House, out of the House of Representatives from Washington, announced that 30 of her colleagues, her included, had sent a letter to President Biden urging President Biden to sit down and have some peace talks with Russia, with Vladimir Putin. Well, in one day, that letter was yanked back. Sorry, oops. Got a phone call from Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and the far left radicals who are really into war. These people, I've never seen people that love war and destruction and death of women and children and the suffering when it happens to another country. But these are the same ones that let death and destruction to young people and women every day in Chicago, every night in the major cities. Don't say. So is it really a surprise that they withdrew this? They had a moment of honor, a moment of clarity, a moment of nonpartisanship, and then folded like a dollar store broom. Your thoughts on this?
It was not communicated, I think, to the White House They had no collaboration, and I think they issued a statement. The White House got a hold of them, and they changed course. Because remember, it's party first.
So the white massa, Joe Biden, the white massa says, withdraw that letter.
Yeah.
And you do. Here's the scary thing. Here is the scary thing. This is from the Washington Post announcing that the letter had been withdrawn and the reasons why. And Miss Jayapal? Jayapal. She tried to cover it up. She said it was a staffer that did this. It wasn't her fault. So she tried to throw the staff out of the bus again. Finally.
That's so wrong.
Okay. That was a staffer, not me. Yeah. Your staffer's going to go out and make that announcement. And then she came back and said, we changed our position. We will have diplomacy after Ukraine is victorious. That's what she said. There, you got that little, when Ukraine the war is won or lost, and you try to have diplomacy. No, it's called survival.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah.
There wasn't diplomacy on the ship with MacArthur and the Japanese emperor. It was a surrender with MacArthur calling all the shots. That's what that was. No, but here's the scary thing. John Kirby, you know who he is? He is the spokesman for the Pentagon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? John Kirby's quote on this, and I agree with you 100%. It's the White House and Kirby and Pentagon, all these warmongers out there that just never saw a war they didn't love because there's so much money to be paid for them and their cronies. And it's awful, it's evil, and it should end. And we're going to wise up sooner or later. Just how many dead bodies get thrown around, how many dead babies before you get to the negotiation table. That's my stance, and I'm sticking to it. Sorry, folks. Here's what John Kirby says. We're not going to have conversations with the Russian leadership without the Ukrainians being represented. Fair enough. This is where it gets really interesting. Kirby said during a briefing with reporters Monday, Mr. Zelensky gets to determine, because it's his country, what success looks like and when to negotiate.
No way.
Right there, buddy. I'm going to read that one thing. We're running out of time, but you need to hear this, folks. This is the official position of Joe Biden, not just a spokesman, John Kirby of the Pentagon. This is our country saying this about all of your tax dollars that's going over there and their troops that are going to eventually be there. He says, Mr. Zelensky alone gets to determine, because it's his country, what success looks like and when to negotiate. If that doesn't scare the you-know-what out of you. Hey, let me tell you something. In World War II, Franklin Roosevelt didn't say to Great Britain and to Italy, who was occupied by Germany, you get to determine what success looks like, because we're sending troops and money. We're in this war with you. We're a big, big, big stakeholder in this. And you're going to give that power away to an individual who, by the way, I'm sorry, was voted one of the most corrupt people that have a head of a country prior to this. Was he a Putin? No. This is so crazy, so dangerous. And you have the president of the United States saying, we're this close to nuclear Armageddon, but Zelensky gets to decide what success looks like and when we talk to them. How in the world
it's pretty sad.
Can you even respond? I can't even. That's
There's another
insane.
Another point to this whole thing that drives me a little bit crazy, and that is that I didn't know that the Democrats, and especially the far left, was allowing people to unsay something that they said, because aren't
it's another good point.
Aren't conservatives held to what they say and can't say I didn't mean it? You know, and now you have 30 elected officials saying I didn't mean it,
and it shows exactly what's happened to the left. Back in the day, with Tom, Tom Hayden, all of these radicals on the left, Democratic National Convention raging against the war in Vietnam. They were raging against big corporate America that was getting rich off of war. They brought that out into the streets.
Yep.
Now they are in bed with the corporate honchos making billions off of that money, because you know what? Those corporations figured it out. I'm going to give it to their nonprofit.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll
I'm going
go-
to give to the.
we'll go woke.
We'll go woke.
Yeah.
And they became exactly what they railed against. If this was the real liberal, so-called radicals, they would be railing against this type of war. Not that you don't get involved and back up Ukraine to the best of your ability.
Yeah, yeah.
But you don't send this kind of money that's going to go right in the pockets of Halliburton and the other defense contractors, in the pockets of these corrupt people. Does anybody know where that money went? Over there that we've sent already. Has there been an accounting for it?
Yeah.
It's called Swiss Bank.
Yeah. How many howitzers are really out there?
Yeah.
Were bought. Well, anyway, folks, that's on the ballot too. Because let me tell you, this thing is unfolding just like Vietnam. Just exactly like it. And John Kennedy, before he was assassinated, saw it. He was prescient enough in his thinking to know we've got to get out of here. We can't get in any deeper. But on that happy, cheery note, on the verge of nuclear Armageddon, this is Alan Autry,
Yeah,
No Retreat.
right.
Love y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Sir Lawrence of Powell, thank you for coming in, buddy.
It's always great
Appreciate
being
you.
here. Thank you.
Guillermo, Sir Rant-A-Lot. Next time I'm going to let you rant a lot. I had to rant a lot today. I stole your time. I'm sorry.
No.
Folks, God bless you. God bless America. And remember, just do your best. Let God do the rest. And it's going to turn out the way it's supposed to. I promise. Bye-bye now.